This is a Hot Pie Media original.
You know, this is an amazing time. It's a disturbing time, but it's an amazing time. I want you to think about something. Now, I realize that I come at most things in a very strategic way. It's probably pretty boring at times. It is certainly a little bit different. So my frame of reference is going to be a little less about feelings and more about strategy. But I want you to think about something. The voter today, maybe I should say this voter, but I don't know if it's that unfair to say the voter today wants nothing. The voter today, this voter today wants nothing in return. The voter or this voter is being sold nothing and being sold nothing because the voter expects nothing and doesn't want anything. You don't go to a store. You don't make a purchase. You always, as a consumer, want something, right? I mean, I don't think that's I know it's an obvious thing to say, but I don't think it's quite so obvious. And it is, even if it's obvious and you say, well, I knew all this stuff. I know that's how it works now. The question is, why does it work this way now? And it never used to work this way. This hit me about 6 minutes ago. It really is. This is about a sales pitch, or in this case, the lack of any pitch whatsoever. No substance, no pitch, because there's no desire by, I'd say the consumer. I always make the mistake of saying consumer, but I should say voter. There's no desire for anything, which is really, really amazing. I don't care where you are. I don't care how you live. That doesn't matter. You want something in return, always. This person, this voter, who things aren't working so well, you would think more than anyone else would say, I got to get something back, man. You got to give me something. No, I can't. I've never thought that so many people would want so little. In fact, you don't want anything in return. So you know what makes, most of you, I assume, what makes makes a good presentation. You know what makes a presentation work? A sales presentation work? A presentation works when the customer, the client, the person listening, you communicate to them how things are going to get measurably better for them. That is how you make a sale. Right? I mean, we all know it. It's just whether or not you're very good at it, I guess, would be an issue. But that's the backbone of a pitch. The person across from you, the customer, they're going to get something measurably back. And it better work, or the customer, guess what? Or the client moves on. You don't give me what I want on the terms that I want them, and you don't give me back what you told me you're going to give me, I will move on. It is a beautiful, selfish way to operate. I don't know of another way. The complete opposite is now what's being sold. Absolutely nothing, and you want nothing. All that is being sold now is the most convoluted, disconnected sales pitch I could ever imagine, and it's going to be sold more so, and that is, it was stolen. Offering the voter nothing of substance, nothing that makes life better, nothing that changes their day in any way. Completely opposite of how everybody operates every single day as a consumer. I don't know why. We used to do it. I mean, I think the bigger argument here today is we didn't used to operate this way. We really didn't. Now, you could argue what people want in politics, what you want in policy, but you want something in return. You've always wanted something in return. You've selfishly wanted something. Now, I could say that that side doesn't offer me what I want, but both sides had an obligation historically to offer you something, and you got it in return, or you moved on. Now you desire nothing except to be pissed off. All you're being sold is be pissed off. And you're saying, that's good enough. I'll just be pissed off. Compare thinking about this too, and if you want to make this more meaningful, and I think it should be. I mean, I really think this is. If you want to be amazed and disturbed, be amazed and disturbed. If you want to argue, I guess go ahead. I don't think you have much of an argument. Just think in terms of how different things are. I use, not that I completely agree, although I agree with both of them on many things and disagree with them on many things, but there is no denying the popularity and the success of Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton was not only that they were master communicators. They were master communicators because they told you what you were going to get. They told you, and you knew you wanted something from them, and they communicated it properly. They made it matter to you. Anyone that ever does a presentation, you know what matters most. The other person, the ability to put yourself in the other person's shoes. What's in it for me is the way you think of the person across from you. Give me what I want. And that is precisely how Reagan and Clinton became popular. It's precisely how they became successful. It's precisely why they are ranked where they are, because they turned around and communicated clearly what you want. If you didn't like it, maybe. If you thought it was a lie, maybe. But there was something to it. Now, there is absolutely nothing. You desire nothing in return. You are being sold nothing. Nothing. And the crazy thing is, nothing is getting wheels. I'm now convinced, as of Sunday afternoon, in the middle of far too much football, I am now convinced this is the pitch. It's the pitch going forward, and it's the pitch you're only going to get, and that is, I got nothing for you, and that's okay, because you don't want anything, which is amazing. Go back in time. Found it, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the morning. Was thinking about this, thinking about why is this an effective communication strategy now? How pathetic can the consumer be? How unselfish can the consumer be, voter, that they don't want anything? You go back, he did it more than once, and Bill Clinton did the exact same thing. Go back to Ronald Reagan turning the tables on everyone, and he did it all the time. What is good for you? What is it you want? What is measurable to you?
When you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was?
Laugh it off all you want. It's an effective presentation because the person coming to the presentation wanted something. Yeah, man. Yeah, I want this, I want this, and I want this. Now, you don't want anything. Or this voter wants nothing. All right, so the strategic phrase going forward, and I feel pretty comfortable in saying that this is now the path forward. This is now the winning path. It is now for better or worse, and I would say for far worse, this is the only thing you're going to get. Because it's the only thing apparently this voter wants, which is really amazing. Hey, every guy can relate to this. You're tired of wearing those baggy cotton shirts that feel like you're wearing curtains. There's a difference. In fact, I'm wearing the difference. That is the ultra premium basics from goodlifeclothing.com. You'll love the shirts. I've been searching for a long time, like every guy, for the perfect lightweight shirt that looks good if you're in pretty good shape. It's at goodlifeclothing.com. Check them out. You'll see the difference for yourself. You'll feel the difference for yourself. It's the perfect shirt for this time of year in Austin, Texas. So, 2 things. Go to goodlifeclothing.com. You get a 20% discount if you enter the promo code JeffWard20. That's goodlifeclothing.com. Enter the promo code JeffWard20 or stop by their store domain Northside. You'll love the difference. You'll feel the difference. It's the perfect fit for a guy that's in good shape. It's goodlifeclothing.com, promo code JeffWard20, or stop by their brand new store at Domain Northside. It was stolen, wasn't a one-off. It is not only not going away, it seems pretty obvious that the strategy going forward is it was stolen. It was stolen. We were screwed. It was stolen. It was stolen. And I don't mean that's just Donald Trump trotting around doing the same stupid thing that he always does. I think it's pretty clear now that is, if you have an R next to your name, it doesn't matter if you're running for dog catcher. You know what you have to say? It was stolen. Wherever you are and whatever audience you're speaking to that is down and out, and they're exactly opposite of what Ronald Reagan has said to them, I don't know how these people don't look around. And I don't know how people in general don't look around and say, you know what? I got a scorecard here and I'm going to keep score. What do you have for me? What do you have for me? It was stolen. Got it. Yeah, it was stolen. What do you have for me? It was stolen? That's it? That's it. And that's what that person wants back. And now the funny thing is, and I think this is now the template is set. The template is a snowball that's just going to increase and increase. What's amazing is you don't have a choice. Even if, and I got to believe that most Republicans, whether you're running for dog catcher or mayor or governor, probably don't believe any of this BS. It's just stupid. It is mind numbing. It's not true. At some level, the vast majority of them aren't that idiotic. They would like to do something else, I have to believe. They would like to make a pitch like Reagan. If you're in politics, you're in the business of sales pitches, I think you'd like to make a better pitch, but they can't. They can't. Not only is it all the voters seems to want, it's all they're allowed to do, or else everything blows up. Why am I saying all this? And I mean this across the board, all that matters. And there's two ways you can come at this. One, how different the voter is now. How different, how completely different a voter is now in wanting nothing in return. Except just be mad. And number two, how this is the path forward for everybody in that party. Now, same thing happened not long ago on the Democrat side. Everything in that party was not him, not that lunatic, not that buffoon, not that. Yeah. But the only pitch now is it was stolen. This is Steve Scalise, the number 2 Republican in the party. And I think he is saying, everybody, here is your playbook. Here is your presentation model. I mean, I don't know anyone. None of you would do this because you wouldn't succeed. You would never walk into an office. Well, you'll never go to Zoom and say, you know what? You really hate Target. You hate them. You hate them. You hate them. They suck. Their logo's stupid. You hate them. You hate them. You hate them. Would you guys like to do business with us? You would never operate that way. Never, ever operate that way. I think Steve Scalise is saying, everyone with an R next to your name, there's only one statement only, one pitch. Here you go.
U.S. Capitol. Let me ask you one last question in this regard. Clearly, there were irregularities in the last election. There are irregularities in all elections. But I want to ask you a specific question. Do you think the 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump, and in continuing to make that charge, not having states do election reforms, but specifically making this charge that the election was stolen? Do you think that hurts, undermines American democracy?
Well, Chris, I've been very clear from the beginning. If you look at a number of states, they didn't follow their state-passed laws that govern the election for president. That is what the United States Constitution says. They don't say that the states determine what the rules are. They say the state legislatures determine the rules.
But the states all certified.
States, they didn't follow those state legislative.
The states all certified.
Follow those legislative rules. Right, but at the end of the day, are we going to follow what the Constitution says or not? I hope we get back to what the Constitution says, but clearly in a number of states, they didn't follow those legislatively set rules.
So you think the election was stolen?
What I said is there are states that didn't follow their legislatively set rules. That's what the United States Constitution says. And I think there are a lot of people that want us to get back to what the Constitution says we should be doing, not just with elections, with a lot of other things, too. And then there's some people that want to just ignore what the Constitution says and do their own thing. You know, that's been a debate that's been going on in this country for a long time.
But
why don't we just get back to the Constitution? You wouldn't have that problem.
And there certainly can happen. But there are people out there. There was a rally for President Trump yesterday, and a number of people said, Joe Biden's not my president. Donald Trump is my president. I guess the question is, do you think the election, last time I promise, do you think the election was stolen or not? I understand you think there were irregularities and things that need to be fixed. Do you think the election was stolen?
And it's not just irregular. It's states that did not follow the laws set, which the Constitution says they're supposed to follow. When you see states like Georgia cleaning up some of the mess and people calling that Jim Crow law, that's a flat-out lie. I think more people need to stand up against that sort of thing.
All right.
Yeah, but the law says, again, the legislature passed that.
The U.S. Capitol.
Okay.
Let me.
That I know it's just a lot of muck there. The bigger point is exactly what I've said. Trump's going to yell. Only thing he's got is it was stolen. The audience likes it was stolen, and this guy's selling it was stolen. What he said is just BS. I mean that is just absurd. What he said is just a flat out lie. It's just absurd. They did certify the election, but that's not even the bigger point. The bigger point is this is it. This is all. That's all there is. That's it. Steve Scalise, the House second ranking, this is from Yahoo News, second ranking Republican still refuses to acknowledge the 2020 presidential election. Yeah, because he's not allowed to. That's the other point. He can't. He may want to say, I got to believe somewhere he's like shaking his head going, I'd like to talk about something else. I'd like to talk about tax codes or war. I'd like to do that, but I'm not allowed because the megaphone is going to yell and the crazy people are going to react. I can't say anything else anymore, and neither will anybody else. You wonder why the state of Texas is doing what it is, auditing on top of audits that was all signed off on already, is because the megaphone says this is what you're going to do. This is all you're going to do. This is the only thing you're going to offer people. Scalise repeatedly refused to say what irregularities he believed happened in which states. He did not say what the legislature's specific preferences the states went against. He offered zero of any detail because this voter wants nothing of a measurable difference. Compare that to what Ronald Reagan says to people. Not that it matters, but every investigation into the election, including by the Justice Department, has confirmed the legitimacy of the results. Okay, again, forget whether you even want to believe that or not. What do you want today? I mean, when Donald Trump's yelling at people in Iowa, somebody in Iowa, you're in Iowa. What do you want? Don't you want anything? I mean, don't you have anything you want to see change? Don't you buy into any of that Reagan pitch? Yeah, that. I want that. I want that to be different. No. Think how different this is now. Think how different the voter is now. Think how, because I guess the voter is different. Why? And think how different the presentation and the pitch from whatever politician, because this is their rule going forward. This is all you're going to be allowed to do and say going forward. And there's a lot of this you're going to hear. I mean, this is not going to change. This is the pitch. This is the presentation. The presentation is, you're mad. I'm mad. Let's just be angry together.
From the Hot Pie Media Studios in Austin, Texas, it's the Jeff Ward Show. Listen at jeffwardshow.com.